Welcome, y'all, to the Hardback Life.
Hey,
Back in action. I only have to mildly threaten Britt. It works, though. It works. No, kidding. I've been bugging her because I've been on a reading frenzy, and I know you haven't, Britt. And then Noelle, who wanted to start another podcast with me, it was her idea, and then she's not even reading right now. So I'm like, I'm reading all these books, and I have no one to talk to. So
well, and it doesn't help. I mean, I've just been busy, and then we all got really sick, and then it's been fun.
I hear you. Well, I'm slowing down on the reading, and I'm playing my Disney Dreamlight Valley because of the last update. But I'm still reading every day. I'm just not reading as fast anymore. So, but I know there's two books that you and I have finished this year so far. I read them and before you, and the first one that I want to talk with you about on this episode is going to be To Kill a Shadow.
Yeah.
By Katherine Quinn. So take it away. Let me know what you thought.
So I mean, you know how I am. I don't really read what the story is going to be about before I get in there. So when you first kind of get into it, it was just kind of like slow, and I'm like, okay, am I going to really get into this right away? Because it kind of starts out a little slow, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it. But then as the story started developing, I was like, okay, this is really good. And I thought I knew what was going to happen. And I thought I knew who these characters were going to be. And then all of a sudden at the end, it was like, you're wrong. You had no clue. You were kind of right, but you weren't at all. But overall, I mean, it was really good. I'm really excited to kind of see what she comes up with the second book coming up, which hopefully we'll know something soon about that.
I hope so too. So I really enjoyed the book. It popped up on my Amazon recommendation list, and I was like, okay, I usually get like books if they're limited, first run print, like all that, whatever. I'm not sure if this one was. I think so, with the purple edges. I don't know.
Well, and remember, I came across that randomly when I was just shopping for the kids, and I was like, oh, let me look at this one.
Yeah. Well, the only way I really pick out books is if like Barnes and Noble, because I'm a member, sends me emails and based off of like my previous purchases, and then Amazon based off my previous purchases, like what I might like. And that's kind of how I find books, unless someone says, hey, buy this book. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I buy it. I liked it. I had no idea really what it was about going in. And so it was, like you said, it was like, okay, a little slow at first. Like, what am I reading? Why did I spend $20 on this book?
Am I going to be able to push through it? Is this really going to get any more interesting? Like, or is it going to be pretty dry?
It's a slow build, but I feel like once you got to a certain point, it just took off. Like there was no stopping. It was like bam, 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 situation. Like it was never ending. And I had my notes, which we'll discuss, after this little mini episode on the details of the book. But yeah, what I thought was going to happen and where I thought the story was going, totally didn't. Not many authors do that nowadays, where like they literally do a tailspin on you and you're like, wait, what? Hold on.
Well, I think for the most part, I feel like most authors, it follows that same theme and pace with same outcome. Yes, different storyline, but it's predictable. And you thought going into it, oh, okay, I could kind of predict what's going to happen. And then it was like, well, you thought you knew, but you didn't.
That and like you're predicting who was who. Like, is this person the ancestor of the goddess, or is this person like, is this person like part evil because of a sickness they got when they were a kid? And then you're just like, wait, what? Or are you thinking like, oh, this person has to be a bad guy because of their profession and what they're doing? And you're like, wait, what? And I was just kind of torn around, but it was so good because lately every book I've read has been super predictable. So it's like really exciting to read a book that the author was really, I mean, she is sneaky and deceptive. I mean,
Especially that one character that you would have never thought
yes,
would have been
yes.
who you turned out to be.
Okay, so yeah, which we're gonna go into detail. I mean, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. So I'm looking at the Goodreads, you know, and it's got 3.89 stars out of 5, so almost a 4-star rating. I think that's fair. I do think a solid 4 is good. I
Mhm.
think it's a very good book. Now, if you're a romance person or someone who likes smut, like this is YA all the way. Like there's
Yeah,
no sex scenes. There's no like there is like a kind of romance element, but it's not like romance. It's not like a main element. It's like a little sprinkle in a story. Like
right.
if that makes sense. It's like a crush basically. So
It's and maybe that's something that will develop later, but I don't think that that was the concentration of the book
exactly.
or the audience per se.
Yeah.
Um, and I think
Well,
the other part of that too is, and I think a lot of those lower ratings come into play because it was such a slow build up.
mhm,
I mean, you really had to kind of truck along and just, it's very different when you compare the buildup that Sarah J. Maas has with her books, where she's world
yeah.
building and it's slow pace in comparison to how this started, where it's just
Yeah.
mm, and
Yeah.
then goes. Because Sarah J. Maas does such a really good slow world building that it's still exciting because she's building this very extravagant world for you.
Yeah.
Um, so you don't really get the same world building
Yeah.
that you would with Sarah J. Maas, but overall, I mean, once it kind of went on and you kind of got a little bit more into it and more excitement started happening, then you're like, okay, now I could kind of get through this a lot quicker and it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think she has a wonderful imagination. And I think her story overall was very, very good. It's definitely not a Sarah J. Maas world building, like you said, but her story building I thought was excellent. And the way that she executed everything, I feel like she put down the plots and she's like, okay, so this person's going to be this person's going to be this, and this person's going to be this. But I'm going to make it where they're all pointing at each other like the Spider Man meme. Like, you don't know who's who. What is it, up or down, sideways? Like,
Yeah.
she was really good. So I would definitely give this book a solid 4 out of 5. A 5 is like something I'm gonna repurchase, right? Special edition stuff. I won't repurchase this book. I won't even purchase the audiobook, but I will read the book again. So that for me, if it's a reread, it's a 4-star for me, and I will reread this because I thought it was excellent. I can't wait until she announces when the second book is going to come out. I like the little teaser that she did, or at the end. So it's kind of like going to lead you into the second book. Really great. And then also, can we just like admire how beautiful the artwork is? Whoever the artist was for this, I think they did a good job.
No,
I
I
love
did.
like,
I did like it.
yeah, it's beautiful. So, and it's so beautiful. My only complaint is it's white.
Yeah.
Oh, who authorized that? Because I always take the dust covers off when I read, and I was trying to be so careful to make sure my hands were clean when I was reading this. And I'm like, come on, y'all. Don't ever make a book in white, please. Please.
Don't do
Like, the dust cover is one thing,
it.
right? But the actual physical book,
Put it in
don't ever
black.
do white. It gets dusty, it gets dirty, it ages 10 times faster. Please do not do it. That was literally my only complaint, and that probably wasn't even really her choice to begin with. So, uh,
No, but I mean, yeah, white's probably. I mean, at
yeah,
least do a meet in the middle, do a gray. Okay.
but right, gray. She could have done purple. She could have done pink. She could have done anything but white. It's like
White,
white
white
is
with.
no, is the Achilles heel. And let me just show an example. Let me grab an example. So this is why we don't do white. This is how it starts. This is how it ends in a couple of years. We do not do white. Okay. It's like It's bad enough that the edges discolor over time, but when you actually do the outside hard, just don't.
There's no going back.
I finally got the last book in this series. I read this over 15 years ago, and I could the fourth book was only in hardback, and I had all the paperbacks. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy a hardback when the other three are in paperback, and it wasn't gonna be on paperback for a while because it was just recently released. So I bought the Nook version when I had a Barnes and Noble Nook. So I finally just decided to finally buy the physical, so I have all, and then it's just seeing these colors.
Stick it outside for a little bit.
And these books have always been indoors. That's the thing. This is just over time. So we all know the pages on our book.
Had that for a while though.
Oh yeah, I've had this book. Oh God, long time. Long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why we just don't do white. Like we already have to deal with the edges of the papers discoloring as time goes. Oh, sorry, hit my knee on my desk.
You're gonna knock everything over. Good job.
I installed a little tray that rolls out. It's got my keyboard on it, and so I'm not used to it because I don't have as much clearance. So, I mean, I could raise my desk though, but anyways, so getting a little off tangent, but solid book, definitely recommend. Would you recommend it, Britt?
Yeah, no, I mean, I for those of you that aren't, you don't like the slow builds, probably, or I don't know if you're going to get to it to the point where you do, but if you do, good book because it wasn't what I was expecting, and I like it when books are not very predictable because I feel like I'm not rereading something else with a slight different version. I like something new, and I feel like this was went in a little bit of a different avenue compared to most. So it was good read. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. And I would agree, and I would recommend don't like slow builds. You want something that's fast paced, like, I mean, you could skip it, but I definitely recommend don't because it is a solid, good book. I would just have it be like maybe your casual read that you read in between other books, like, chapter here until you get to the point where it's like, ooh, it takes off.
Yeah.
We all have a book series.
Yeah.
Mine is
because it does take a while.
Yeah, mine's Magical Midlife series from KF Green. I'm on like book 3. I've been reading the book series since summer. I just read it in between chapter here and there. It's a good, funny story.
I haven't finished it either.
It's not a fast pace. It's a very slow pace book series. So for me, it's just my like in between books. Like I'm waiting for my new book to arrive or this and that. It's a good story. It just doesn't. It hasn't really roped me in. But I am on the 3rd book, so it's progress. Might take me another year to finish it, but I'm getting there.
Well, and that's the thing. Going back to like even that midlife series, I kind of got to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm rereading the last book just in a slightly different version, and I was like, okay, I have to give this a pause because I just felt like I was rereading something I already read.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can't, and now I just can't find myself in the state to kind of get back into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Then we're going to come back and we're going to go into the details of the book. So for all y'all, check out the next episode where it'll pick up where this one's ending. All right.
All right. Be back.